You know, I think I need to start this video off with an apology for clickbait. Not this video, mind you, no, these games are unfortunately exactly as miserable as you think they are, but you see, a bit ago I made a video claiming to have played the worst gachas ever made, because at that time I truly thought it would be impossible to find something worse. Yet in my hubris, I decided to make this video and I, somehow, played considerably worse ones.
You can just call me Fox Lady.
Hey there, Sister Fox Lady.
So yeah, apologies for that prior video's title, but this one is accurate because I decided to go through a fair bit of these sponsorship emails I have received from various gachas, to then play through those games and honestly review them. Now to be clear, I didn't accept the sponsor offer for any of the games in this video, I've ghosted all the emails for them. But if I wanted to, I would be able to cover sponsorships I've already taken and be honest with them. Though that list gets a little boring because it's like, Reverse 1999, it's a good game. I ain't got much else to say. Though with these games, there's a lot to bring up, both good and bad. Mainly bad. But since I didn't want this video to be an hour long as there's a lot of games to cover, I decided with a unique approach. I will play these games until they make me, as a player, not want to play them. I will give them all a legitimate shot, putting my biases of how some of them look like ass aside, and play them until I feel like any regular consumer would want to uninstall this shit. Now I do want to clarify that if one of the games I bring up is something you really love, and I proceed to insult it, my opinion should be worth less than trash to you. If you love something, that's all that matters. Enjoy it as much as you want. Don't let others take that away from you. And also at the same time, if I insult a game here you've seen another CC sponsor before, please don't shit talk them over. I don't think taking a sponsorship offer from a dog shit game is something worth being harassed over, and who knows, hey, maybe they like the game. But with all that being said, time to continue with the video that's going to ensure this channel never sees the light of another sponsorship ever again. So first game up is Bloodline Heroes of Lithis. It starts with possibly the worst character creator I've ever seen. You're provided with the world's most uncanny face, and that's literally all that changes. You just swap the face. The body remains the same. It's like popping off the head of a Lego figure to throw on a new one, except the Lego figures look like a horror story. But after your creature is created, the opening of the game starts, with a baby being shitted out. Game's Bloodline, Heroes of Lithis, so can't say they didn't exactly foreshadow that the core part of this game is literally having kids, but if we're being honest, just didn't expect that to be one of the first things I saw after sitting down to play this game. But the actual gameplay is just a generic auto-battler. Take any auto-battler made for a game that no one knows about, that's this game system. Where it tries to innovate is having the air system, where you can court your companions to raise their babies, or do that with the units you gacha for. Now does saying that explanation out loud and having a voice clip of me saying it exists on the internet weird me out a little? Possibly. But it's a game system that isn't entirely unknown. I mean, I remember Fire Emblem did that shit with Birthright, but a big difference, and as to why that one worked but this one doesn't, is the characters there actually had, well, character. And this one, all the kids just look the same exact fucking way. Horrifying. And the way to raise them kind of reminds me of those shitty mobile game ads. But what I noticed was that after an hour of playing, I was ranked for the 748th spot in my entire server. How many people are playing this game? But the unfortunate part is, after playing for a while, I climbed even higher in the rankings, but the gameplay never changed. Which, I know it's a lot to ask for an auto-battler to innovate on the battle part, but dear god, when your game is so uninteractive, it gets boring quickly. The progression isn't particularly interesting, nor are the characters, and the first time you interact with the gameplay is pretty much how most of the main story ones will feel after that. They try to make the world seem like you're a king running it, with shit like Senate hearings and all that, but it's just a simple minigame of choose this option, get this reward. The only interesting things I've seen from this game are it giving me a top-up bonus for furries, them having an ad that's literally just a woman giving birth, and the game saying my browser stopped working whenever I booted it up. Huh? Next up is Revelation M. Had zero clue what to expect going into it. Hopes weren't exactly high after the prior game, but it's best to keep an open mind. What I didn't expect was being able to create a child. Not in that way. The game has a character creator with 3 options, male, female, and girl. Don't know why that's an option. Some answers as to why that's an option I don't personally want to hear. So moving on, I decided to choose my class. They got a fair bit of them, and I decided I'd don the drip of female Dante. And then I had to make my character. Now, to the game's credit, the character creator is really fucking good. There's a shit ton of options, and I can definitely see people spending hours in it. Now, me personally, I didn't need to spend hours. I have a lot of experience in Dark Souls character creator, so I knew precisely what to do in no time flat. The result of my expertise is this masterpiece. I even went so far as to give it a fitting name. Truly, I think the hand I craft with has no equal. Unfortunately, the face used for dialogue boxes isn't my character's face, so Mona Lisa can't exactly shine as much as I was hoping for, but on the positive side of things, the game actually looks fairly good for a mobile game. It doesn't run particularly well at all, and this is with me playing it on an emulator with a PC that is way more than what is required of this game. So people actually playing this shit on their phone, I recommend buying welding gloves so you can maintain your fingerprints. But I noticed a bit into the game that the combat seemed very similar to an MMO, and unfortunately, I was correct. This game is a mix between an MMO and a gacha. This immediately terrified me for two reasons. One, MMOs are a very difficult genre of game to work with. To actually have one do well and thrive is incredibly difficult, especially when one of the biggest problems for them is player retention, which doesn't work well for mobile games because I feel like out of any way to play a game, mobile ones don't exactly scream as a platform where people are looking to log in and give the game their full attention. It seems like a big mismatch, and hell, just aside from that, the mixture of a gacha and an MMO kind of makes me feel like we're gonna get the worst of both worlds rolled into one. And the other worry is that I created one of the most ugly characters this world has ever borne witness to, called Abomination. And this game is an MMO where everyone I come across is gonna be able to see this creature. Dog, I thought this shit was gonna be a single player game. But in brighter news, I decided to look into why this game came to be, and turns out it's a mobile port of an older MMO called Revelation Online that shut down. And I noticed the Steam reviews were mixed, so I decided to check them out, and game apparently had spyware in it. So that's pretty cool. And aside from that, anytime I've seen it mentioned, it was with people saying it's dog shit. Wonderful, glad I decided to play this. After doing the in-game captcha, what I was worried about came true. It gave me no cohesion. You see, to progress through the game, you can pretty much just auto-walk to wherever you gotta go, which I think is a positive as I've seen newer MMO players get lost in the maps a lot, but the game doesn't give me a hook at all. I just auto-walk to destinations, and from what the game has shown me of its combat for an MMO, it really doesn't look interesting. And then comes the gacha, it's kinda just thrown at you. It's open and you start gambling, and the game doesn't really do a good job of explaining what you're gambling for. Part of the reason for this is because you actually unlock the gacha before the game thinks you will, so you end up gambling before their tutorial on gambling. But even with that, I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing this for. Also, the game is information overload incarnate. Like, look at this fucking UI. What the fuck is this? So at this point in the game, I have had shit thrown at me with no explanation, very mediocre combat, and a story that is boring as hell. What is keeping me in? I mean, the game's funny, yeah, not because of the writing or anything, nah. It's because of how botched it is. I mean, dear God, in one of the first story quests, you spend time preparing for this concert, then you go to the concert and the actual singing of the concert just ain't there. And then aside from that, the game's sloppy in so many other aspects. The typesetting on the books looks like fucking Arial font. I saw a video for an outfit reveal in-game, and this was the bitrate. This. Dog, I've seen better bitrate on pirating sites that gave me 10 different viruses. What are we doing here? This is in-game. And then you hear the voice acting. Dear God, you hear the voice acting. I didn't know how bad it was, because when I first booted up the game, I was watching Bleach on my second monitor. Sue me. But when I went to listen to the game, this was the first line I ever heard from my character.
Hey there, Sister Fox Lady.
And this isn't an isolated case either. Your cat companion speaks in a constant state of whisper.
That's right. Master is so clever.
And some characters literally change their voice midway through what they're saying.
They each have their own strengths and situations they excel in, and they can even team up for battles.
Here you go. Try to make more contracts with familiars.
What reason do I have to stick with this? The outfits? Is that the sell? Is this Infinity Nikki but dog shit? Oh wait, that's right, Info ruined the game recently, never mind. Okay, is this just meant to be Infinity Nikki but an MMO? But hey, maybe the dungeons are interesting, so I decided to queue for one. It took me 3 minutes to get a team for a daily dungeon, not half bad. But then everyone immediately left the party after I joined, so yeah, that's the half that's bad. After that, I decided to solo queue for the dungeon, and the game literally just played it all for me. Just autoed it. This is when I decided to call it quits because I don't see what reason I have to play this game. Aside from the idea of playing an MMO on my phone, this game hasn't shown me any reason to stick with it or any polish where it matters. And then apparently Final Fantasy XIV is launching a mobile version, so why not just play that instead? I don't know, games only have so much time to prove themselves, and this one didn't. Now, some take a while to prove themselves, right? Like Final Fantasy XIV. But those games have word of mouth to help lessen the beginning being asked. Though the word of mouth around this game was apparent spyware, and everyone saying it's mega dog shit, doesn't exactly inspire confidence. On to the next game. Eternal Evolution. Outright, the opening was much higher quality than what I expected out of any of these games, but when I got into it, the aesthetic was kinda shit. Like, the game tries to have a Warframe aesthetic, but it just fails at it. It feels really lifeless. Then you get into the combat, and it's literally just a box standard auto battler. And the monetization is sketchy with the need to pay to get story completion milestones and not telling you a pack is paid only till you click on it, then it tells you. But honestly, none of that's really as important as the combat itself being boring. For game modes, you literally just got shit roguelike, go down different levels of an area with the same exact combat and kill bosses fast. The biggest problem is, partially because it's an auto battler, is that none of these really play different. Yeah, they're different game modes, but it's like saying a bag of Lay's from Walmart is different from a bag of Lay's from Costco. Motherfucker, they ain't really. So it just leaves you with an experience that's boring. Not like atrocious, they didn't do anything fucked up, it's just boring, which there is something more interesting to talk about with that, but before getting into it, I want to bring up the next game because it encapsulates my point that relates to this game perfectly. Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. This is by far the biggest game I got on the list, and I won't lie, when I got the sponsorship for this game, my entire thought process was, no thanks, 99% of these anime gacha games are trash, I'm good. But I was actually pleasantly surprised in some areas for this game, and fucking baffled in others. So, some of the good. The art in this shit is beautiful, they killed it, and the animations are really good as well. It's got style to it, which for something like JJK, I think nailing the style is really important, but you also gotta nail the characters. Pause. What I mean to say is they gotta feel accurate to how they are in the anime, and in this game, they actually do. Like for example, take this Gojo unit. Bro's invincible to skills because of Infinity, but in 7 turns, he has to bounce. He leaves and auto dies. That's a perfect way to have him as a unit. Infinity is treated fairly similar to how it is in JJK, and Gojo needed to be at 10 million different areas at once so everything doesn't fall to shit is also accurate. And it was really smart making the units alters of the characters at different points in the story. JJK's cast isn't gigantic, or at least it ain't big enough to support a gacha game, so divvying up the shit like this, smart way to pad out the cast. Game's also got Sweep, which I love, and an SSR ticket that you can reroll to get the character you want from the beginner pool. Also, the gacha animation is really clean, and you got a fixed pull for a memory of Yuji's grandpa fucking dying, which really it has no overall importance, I just found it funny. But that's most of the good. Now the bad. The menu's responsiveness is equal to the responsiveness of an amputated, brain-dead possum after it has been deceased for a year. This shit is so ass. I cannot even put it into words. Going through the menus feels like I am flipping through the slides of a fucking PowerPoint. It takes so long to load your clicks or load the things you're clicking into. It's less responsive than all the other games on this list. Brother, how? How do you have a game that's really high quality in some areas, then have one of the least responsive menus I have ever seen? Which ain't helped in the slightest with the game having 50 million different pop-ups when you go to level up characters. Or also having pop-ups to download the character voices and story cutscenes before you play a story stage, which is my first time really seeing that done. Unsurprisingly so, cause who the fuck wants to spend time downloading a story stage before they get in it? What are we doing here? But the main problem it has is being a turn-based game, asterisks. I don't say that because I hate turn-based games, after all my favorite game of all time is one, but I say that because this is a very bare-bones turn-based game. Coming out in 2023 and a year later in 2024 for global. For a turn-based game to come out anywhere in modern times, we gotta have a more complex system than characters have a stamina bar, it fills over time, some attacks use a stamina bar, they have ultimates. Like, that is the bare minimum for a turn-based game. Some turn-based games that came out 2 decades ago play like this. Now some character kits help this problem by being more interesting on their own, so they add some substance to the combat, but then it creates a problem where the bones of your turn-based game are boring, so you then need to rely on getting specific characters to really start having fun with it. And this only gets doubled when you can compare it to Honkai Star Rail. That's also a turn-based gacha game, but its combat mechanics are more interesting, team building is more interesting, character kits are more interesting, and bosses are more interesting. I don't fully like tying this game down because Honkai Star Rail exists, but you're releasing a turn-based gacha after that game came out. You need to pay attention to it and innovate so it doesn't just mog your combat system, which it does. And aside from that, it does feel like a bit of a mismatch with a JJK game being turn-based instead of action. Though, thinking on it, last time I saw JJK have an action game, it was the fighting one, so never mind. Turn-based is fine. But the way they did the turn-based isn't interesting. Because after I got my current team, the way I played them in the first stage I had them was the exact same way I played them hours later. Bosses or not. New game modes or not. It was pretty much the same. I followed the same rotation for everything. The gameplay wasn't malleable, and this is the same problem I have for Eternal Evolution, though to a lesser degree because this game is considerably better than that. But it's a problem I see in a lot of games, the actual combat feeling very samey. Like for example Limbus, the way you approach 90% of stages in the game is the exact same, nothing really different. But an example of a very malleable combat system is Arknights. Since the stages change drastically, the way you play them also changes. It's a good example of something that can break the mold and not feel like you're doing the exact same shit over and over, which Phantom Parade felt like. It's unfortunate because I like the series, the game has style, the progression system is pretty interesting too, but the gameplay just feels like the same experience rehashed over and over. I think the game has potential, what it does well is great, but what it does bad is just wild that a game coming out in modern times would fumble there, Menu especially, though it's still considerably better than the next game, Pixel Hero. As this game is almost one-to-one with the one I covered in the past, Pixel Duel. Thing is, that game ripped off a bunch of different anime and stuff, but this one, in terms of its characters, is original. It has its own cast, story, and actual voice acting, but that and the combat being changed to turn-based instead of a brawl one like Pixel Duel was, are literally the only changes between the two games. The UI is the same, banners are the same, banner systems are, systems to spark are, character progression is. Literally the second I loaded into this game I went, oh, it's just like Pixel Duel, and treated the game the exact same as I did that one for progression, and it worked. It's like Pixel Duel but without anime characters, higher quality except for the semi-shoddy translation, and with less players, because in my entire server there was one guild to join, and singular. Now from what I heard, these games are basically just knockoffs of AFK Arena. Never played it myself, so I didn't make that connection until I heard people bring it up, but looking at the footage of the game, yeah, it's clear these games were built off as clones of AFK Arena. But honestly, aside from that, there's really nothing else to say about the game that I haven't already said about Pixel Duel. I mean, it's just Pixel Duel, but actually legal to function. Now, if that's more appealing to the player, I don't know. On one hand, you only need to find out the new name the game's under because copyright law shut it down, but on the other, you can't have a team of 5 different characters from 5 different anime all at once, so, there's that. Though, moving on to something that's hopefully better, we got Goddess Order. And when I looked this game up, I went to their page and looked through it. And looked. And kept looking. Then I came to a realization. There's no download button. There's a character menu where you can see a whopping 3 of them. There's a media menu where you can see 4 different backgrounds. The home menu that has 2 trailers which don't fucking work when you click on them. Literally clicking does nothing. At all. Thankfully the Discord and Twitter links work, but I'm not joining the Discord, and the Twitter had its last post on September of 2024. With the comments under it all just wondering when the game is going to be released. And I won't be too particular about this in case it breaks some rules, which I doubt it would considering I didn't sign an NDA, but still better safe than sorry. Though the date they wanted me to do the ad for this game, it was either an integrated one or a dedicated video. Integrated meaning a short segment in the video, basically the whole "this video was sponsored by," that's an integrated video. And a dedicated is an entire video about that game. But to do a dedicated video, you need to actually have a game to play. And the date for when they wanted that ad out was, without being specific, a date that has already passed. And not by a week or so, think over a month. And that's important because these ad dates are very stringent. Companies want you to do ads for the game when it's about to release or have something big like a new version. They are very specific about these dates and usually don't let you drop your ad after them. So what it means is that the planned release for this game was delayed. And apparently, that's not the first time it happened either. Googling for more info popped up 2 interesting things. A Reddit post summarizing a lot of different interviews the devs have done, and a Namuwiki page about this game. Namuwiki is a Korean wiki site basically. But turns out the game was going to have a global launch date in late 2021. Then it got delayed. So the next plan was a launch in 2022. Then it got delayed. And looking at Namuwiki, it says the game was planned for a release in the first quarter of 2023 after. Then it got delayed. Next game plan was the first quarter of 2024. Then it got delayed. News then said it was to be dropped the second quarter of 2024. Then it got delayed. And apparently, it's been pushed back to the third quarter of 2025. Brother, it's June and we have not heard shit about this game. I don't think it's ever coming out. You've heard of development hell. Nah, this shit is in the development shadow realm. What the fuck is going on with this game? Like, yeah, we have some gameplay of it, but dear God, I don't think it's seen the light of day. The devs said they want to delay it to make it good, which has me hoping that if we ever do see this release, it's gonna be the best game ever made. Can't wait to launch it up in big 2035. Is what I had planned to say, but turns out the game dropped in Malaysia a bit before I started editing this video. Not gonna lie, didn't expect that. Hell, I'm recording this segment at 2 AM. Actually just fucking baffled they dropped this shit out of nowhere. Yeah, I still don't know when the global release is gonna be, but maybe there's actual hope that it drops. Moving on to the next game, Guild of Guardians. To not mince any words, this is by far the worst game in this video. To start with, it's an NFT game. That tells you enough. I could just wrap it up right there and move on, but no, unfortunately, I decided to actually play it. Then I found out it has menu pings that tell you to check out new stuff, and those don't go away till you watch an ad for them. Also, it has a VIP system that you need to get up for a quicker speed in battle. Crafting equipment is itself a gacha too, cause why not? The gameplay is just another generic auto battler, but this one tries to make all the stages set up like you're going through a dungeon. Yet the gameplay is just the same generic shit, and the dungeon-like gameplay adds nothing. It's just there, so at the end of the dungeon they could give you a pop-up for double rewards if you watch an ad. The character designs are mid, the animations are mid, there's no story worth bringing up, nothing visually interesting. What the fuck is this game? The enjoyment it gave me was that it's a failed NFT game, though seeing this image that 84 people decided to buy this image of one of the shit character designs is... yeah, okay, never mind, that's a little depressing. But this is an NFT game that's a gacha with ad-based monetization and a VIP system. Motherfucker, pick a struggle. This is the most I have ever seen a game be monetized, holy shit. And the terrifying part is, when I made a tweet talking about this game without saying the name of it, I heard a couple of people bring up other gachas from the brief description I gave of this one, which means there's more dog shit out there that I haven't even had the chance to be depressed by yet. Wonderful. But if you actually want to play the game, good fucking luck doing that, because I couldn't even see where the fuck to go next on the map because the game makes you have the most severe fucking case of cataracts ever recorded in the human race the second you make the mistake to play this. You know, I'm not gonna lie. At times, I feel like I don't put as much effort into YouTube as I should be. I mean, we recently hit 50k subs and that's already more than a dream to me. I don't believe it. I also think I'm at 10k and that number is already insane. So when I look back and see some of the delays I've had for videos, I feel a little bad. And I felt the same looking through the sponsor offers. A lot I just ghosted instead of replying to. It felt like a waste. Felt like I'm not doing enough. But if this is the level of dog shit looking to sponsor me, nah, brother, I am fine with having ghosted this game. It can fuck off. Holy shit. This is so unbelievable ass. I do not want to be known at all for trying to push the blight of this game onto my audience, hell nah. Though this shit was so ass, and the others, bar JJK, weren't much better either. To where the combination of playing all these horrid games really got to me. At this point, I didn't know if I wanted to finish the rest of the ones on this list. But I decided to lock the fuck in and play them. The first one being Metal Slug Awakening. I came in knowing nothing, and in the tutorial, the game fucking crashed and died. Oh, what the fuck? Not a good sign. Also not a good sign that I had to individually download the resources for the characters to actually see them. But when I did that, the game fucking died again. So, also not the best sign. But aside from the 2 times it exploded, 3, because it did it once more as well, the game is genuinely fun. You know, it turns out it's sort of like a reboot or reimagining or continuation or whatever the hell of the old school style run and gun games. Metal Slug was apparently one of the more popular ones in that genre. I say apparently because I was born after the year 2000, so all this shit is basically ancient history to me. But apparently Metal Slug was really well known, and I think this game is pretty fucking good. It's the same general gameplay of what you would expect, but the way it's innovated is by 2 changes. One is to get your own starting weapon, mainly by gacha, but that is made to be the base gun you bring into stages on that character. Because you can also have 3 characters per stage, and they all got their own movesets. The way you optimize damage is by switching between all of them and using their skills effectively to apply multiple different debuffs on the enemy, then bursting them down. It's really simple, but there's something I love about it. Like, I don't think the game's a masterpiece, but after playing so many that are just generic auto battlers that are running as I stare at my screen and reevaluate my life choices, having something that's actually interactive as I'm swapping between all these characters using their abilities and dodging bullets, it's fucking fun. The OC is nice as well. The character designs ain't half bad, and the story is, well, it exists. But it's also got a mini roguelite in it as well, something to actually divvy up the gameplay. Like, I feel like I haven't played too much of it because with these games, I'm done when I feel like quitting, but this one I actually want to play. And yo, shit, turns out it's on Steam too. That is probably much fucking better than an emulator, and oh, the reviews on it are mixed. Let's just see why. Wonderful. Final game up is Kimono Friends Kingdom. Let's hope this one doesn't disappoint me, because I really need a W right now. That's the mindset I had going into it. I was at my wit's end. But this game was actually fun which was weird to play when I've already subjected myself to so much dog shit. Actually enjoying my time was like a foreign concept to me. Yeah, the game's basically waifu Angry Birds, but instead of the birds just hitting and it's done, they use their moves. You got the basic attacker, buffer, debuffer, healer, defender, but the game's able to keep interesting with these stages and the slingshot mechanic making how you approach these stages different. The skill animations look good, dialogue's done in a very active way, the cutscenes in the game aren't static, they move around a lot, the UI's nice, game seems pretty generous, and at this point, I swear to God, I may be glazing. I don't think this game is a masterpiece. I think it's like a solid 7 out of 10, but after playing a collection of 1s and 2s, this shit might as well be my game of the year. I'm like a beaten dog actually getting some love in its life for once, holy shit. Like, this game isn't trying to be hyper complex or whatever, it's a dumb, simple, fun game, and it exceeds at it. Only negatives I can really think of is fighting the bosses gets a little boring because you're just on a flat plane with them, and the story isn't too interesting from what I saw of it, though it being very active with really good art helps. The character designs aren't half bad either, it took fucking forever, but I think I actually found a game I enjoy. Yo, Metal Slug was close, but hearing the reviews on it made me not want to play it too much, but this one, from everything I've seen, seems like a solid game. It's not like some 5-star Michelin restaurant, it's more so this one nice local place you go to because it's not trying to be too much and you enjoy it for what it is. And after suffering through all these games, an experience like that is just what I needed. So this video can at least end on a high note, and if one of y'all have played Kimono Friends for a long time and wish to impart some knowledge in the comments section that the endgame may be terrible, or it's spyware, or if you don't spend on the game daily, the devs will actively hunt you down for ransom money, please don't. I need some form of a victory with this video. Ignorance is bliss, and I wish to be ignorant. But on the real, I genuinely didn't expect most of these games to be terrible. I don't exactly think every game looking to sponsor me is all sunshine and rainbows, but I mean, dear God, apparently Bloodline fucking nerfs old characters to keep you spending. Out of every game on this list, the only ones I'd say are worth checking out are JJK if you can vibe with the combat, Kimono Friends if you come into it expecting a more laid-back game, and Metal Slug if they address the concerns I've seen for the game. Because the core gameplay is really good, so if that's fixed, can easily recommend it. The rest are actually fucking Satan spawn. I could deeply recommend not trying them out, but if you want to, good fucking luck. I have a straitjacket and a padded room available for you that you're gonna need if you make the mistake of actually spending time playing those games. Undercover.